We are not robots. We are not AI. The thing that really truly sets us apart from them is emotion. We are creators because of emotion. Emotion is a God-given gift that goes underappreciated, underrated, overused in the negative sense, and underused in the proper context. I want to talk for a minute about, let's think about how we can flip our negative thoughts, our negative emotions to more positive ones, okay? Let's say you leave your house, you're in your car, you're headed to wherever, maybe you're going to dinner, and about a quarter of the way there or so, you realize that you forgot something very important. Maybe you needed to take some paperwork with you. Maybe you forgot your cell phone. Whatever. Rather than be aggravated that you have to turn around and double back, and you might be a few minutes late, shift your perspective in that and look at it as a blessing, because things don't happen by coincidence or accident per se, okay? Things happen because they're meant to happen. Yes, there's the rare freak accident, but rather than that, most things, more often than not, are part of God's plan. So when you're being slowed down or diverted and you have to double back, think about that. Be grateful for that, okay? And rather than be upset or disappointed, accept it as God's protection. He works in our favor all the time. We just don't recognize it to see it and give him his due props. You know, give God his props and your guardian angels. We tend to try to take control over everything, and when we don't control a situation such as that, we feel those negative emotions from it, which just causes us more harm, because you being angry could actually cause you to have a wreck. That's a fact. That's a scientific energetic exchange fact, okay? So be cool when you're driving. When you're behind those drivers that are going slow, rather than be aggravated because they're slowing you down, maybe think about it from their position. Why are they driving slow? Are they a new driver? An older person? Do they have a heart condition? Are they maybe going into a seizure? Did their leg cramp up? You don't know. I mean, you just don't know. You don't know what's going on with them. They could be a diabetic and going into a diabetic shock. You don't know. So be more compassionate. Flip those negative energies to something more positive, because the more positive you can be inside of you, the better energy that's going to come back to you, because that's always listening. It's always listening. Okay? The universe, the World Wide Web that connects us all, it's always listening to what we're putting out to give us more of that. So, you know, don't be that pessimistic, angry, aggravated, agitated person. Look at it from a different perspective. I'm not saying you have to be happy-go-lucky about everything. Just look at it like, oh, maybe that happened for a reason there. Okay, well, thank you, God, because you probably don't want to find out. Okay, if it was, you know, if it was. So just listen to those things and like go with the flow more, right? Allow God and the guardian angels to do their job, and give them their props for doing so. You know, say thank you. It's that simple. Thank you. Okay? So try to come from your higher emotions, because the more you can do that, the better you can actually create for your world, for your desires, your happiness. Okay? Now, of course, there's plenty of emotional trauma that I know that people need to heal from. That's an important thing in order to be able to shift that perspective and to see things in a new light, in a new way. Okay, I just want to back up for a minute because I actually missed part of my notes that I really wanted to talk about. All emotion creates, good or bad. Like I was talking about with the exchange of what we're putting out, it's giving us more backup. So all emotion creates. It's like that cause and effect that we're taught in science class in school. But when we talk about negative emotions and we talk about the healing and we talk about how you've got emotional traumas or PTSD or whatever baggage, you know, that you need to somehow let go of, but you can't. What is it about past things that we can't let go of? It's the memory, right? It's the memory. And all these spiritual gurus out there are telling you, you need to just forget it. Just forgive and forget. No, they're telling you all wrong. You forgive it because you can come from a higher perspective and see it from a new direction, from a new point of view, like from the other person's point of view, kind of a thing, okay? And I don't mean like in a give them a free pass for whatever they did kind of way. That's not what I'm saying. So please don't muddy that water. But, and we'll get to that. But to be able to shift that and truly heal from it, we have to be able to see it from a new perspective, okay? We need to always remember the past, though. We don't want to dwell there. But we don't ever want to forget it either. And I think that's the number one thing that so many spiritual teachers are telling people is to forget it. You can't forget it. You can't. That's why you can't get away from the memories, because you're not supposed to forget it. The remembering it is so that you know what lessons you've already taken. Right? Just like we remember cause and effect in science class, or being taught the alphabet, or multiplication, right? Like, we know those lessons. We may not remember the bulk of the lessons, but the ones that had emotional attachment to them, they stick. Okay? Those memories stick. Those were real lessons. And without the memory, you don't know that you've had the lesson. So then you're repeating the lesson over and over and over because you don't want to remember it. You don't want to honor it in the proper way so that you can file it away. Because it was some form of a lesson. And I know there's going to be plenty of people that are going to come at me with, you know, what lesson was there for me to learn from being molested as a child, or something heinous, you know, being raped or whatever. I don't necessarily know the answer to that without really thoroughly speaking with you on an individual, personal basis. But I know that for me personally, there were lessons. I don't just sit behind a camera and talk about nonsense bullshit that I don't know something really deeply well about. I promise you that. So if you have those issues, please reach out to me and let's find out where you can learn from it in order to heal it and move on. But I don't want you to ever forget it, per se. To heal from it is where you can remember it without the pain. And trust me, I know that very well too. We're going to get to that in just a minute. So I don't want you to dwell there. I want you to live in the present. I want you to be able to live in the present and truly enjoy life as it should be. But we always have to be able to remember in order to gauge how far we've come. where we've come from, and maybe even where we still need to go. If you have some type of insight into that, wouldn't you think that that's better? To have a heads up what might be coming down the track next? I can help you to do that. And that is true ascension. Not that bullshit new age ascension talk. Real ascension. Real growth. Real learning and maturity as a soul in a human experience. So always remember everything that you can. I remember almost all of my life experiences. Vividly, actually. Probably because I am a Cancerian. And with that means that I have a whole host of emotions and I utilize all of them. Maybe sometimes in one day I can use every one of them on the gamut. Okay? That's just who I am. I'm a Cancerian. We are full of emotion. And we know how to utilize them and use them and express them. Now granted, the Cancerian's lesson is to learn to master that. To not let it control you. Which I have done. But the emotion of all of the events or the moments in my life, that's what created the snapshot in my mind's eye, or the video reel, or the snippet that's now in my memory bank, or on a computer, a hard drive. The difference between the hard drive and our memory bank is that our memory bank has emotion attached to it. Your hard drive doesn't. There is real strength, real power, real empowerment in remembering. I've been abused in various different ways by people that weren't even strangers since the age of 4. You can't forget the things that happen to you in life, no matter how hard you try. You can't forget. They say, if you can't beat them, join them. And me, being who I am, I have found a whole new take on that phrase. Yes, it takes on a whole new and very poignant meaning for me that enables me to be the one that's qualified to teach you. So, let me just talk for a minute about oral anthropology. Do any of you know what that means? Oral anthropology? That would be the account of an event or a moment that is passed down through oral traditional storytelling. Well, I'm bringing that shit back. By me sharing my stories with you and how I have arrived at the answer, the missing piece, for all of those who are willing to allow me to do so and really listening to it, that really choose to heed my summary of how to navigate through this and win. If this resonates with you as truth and logic, I'm going to be sharing a lot of my stories with you, rather than trying to do the visuals in the videos and the opening and the closing and all that crap. Because that's not me. That's not my style. And I believe in my mission and my purpose enough to know that I don't need to do any extra hoopla. I'm not jumping through hoops. I'm not doing extra props. You just get me. Because that's the only way you're truly going to get me. In my lifetime, I have traveled through this journey with the angel of punishment. He has been my guide. And I'm not telling you this for you to feel sorry for me. Not at all. I'm telling you this for you to be able to know who I am, who I've become, why I've become who I am, is to be able to help you heal. Help you know your real truths, the real history, the real whys. Why me? I have those answers for you. I can help you to find them. I'm not trying to sell snake oil. I genuinely want to heal the world, one soul at a time, and end the chaos and stop the madness and the pain and everyone having that guaranteed jaded mark upon them as they enter this beautiful realm we call Earth. Because that's not the way it's supposed to be. And my heart sings with joy at knowing what our future looks like. And it's magnificent. It's not perfect, because it's a work in progress just like we are. But it's so much greater than what we have now, even in our best moments. So oral anthropology is how I will be approaching teaching you. And while I'm on that subject real quick, let's just think about that for a minute. Oral anthropology is one person's account of an event or a moment. 6 people can be in the same room and watch the same thing play out, but because they are standing at a different position in the room, their field of perception, their view of it, is different. And we should all be honoring each other's stories. I honor my accounts of my memories. I no longer allow people to try to sway my truth. It's my truth, from my lessons, from my journey. And your truths are for your lessons and your journey. And I honor your truths just as much as I honor mine. And I no longer take it personally because I see from a new perspective. I no longer take it personally when someone else's account isn't in line with mine. Actually, I pay closer attention if their version of the story is in alignment with mine, because that tells me now that there is something further for the pair of us to learn together. And that is interesting to me. That is something that I choose to explore more. And that's also how I see the new lessons coming down the path. Okay? When we truly heal by coming from this new understanding, this new field of view, then we are learning to truly master the alchemical process of transmuting one energy, which is one emotion, into another. One where we are able to cope in a much more healthy, happy, and abundant way. And then this too naturally leads you to this newfound adamant protection of yourself. A newfound love and respect for yourself. Because now you're no longer going to be allowing certain situations or certain types of people to intervene or entangle too far into your life and your journey. You're going to see it coming so that you can head it off at the pass. That's real power. Because you're still very willing, coming from this new point of view, you're still very willing to be open to love, sending it and receiving it. But you're also more willing to see the deceit, the trickery, and the dangers for what they are. You will no longer doubt your gut instincts, those red flags that you had seen in prior situations. Because in reflection from that higher perspective, now you truly understand where, what, how, when, and why it went awry. And you can avoid it. And again, I want to go back to saying, like I said in the previous video about children being able to truly protect themselves from the wrongs of the world, the abuses. If our children, if we know who we really are and understand all of it from a higher perspective, a more mature, grown-up perspective, where we truly own our shit, deal with our shit, release our shit, keep the memories, learn the lessons, move forward, enhance more of what we have that God gave us, really hone our skills, then we become accustomed, much like oral tradition, oral anthropology is passed down through the family bloodlines, the decades, however you want to say that, the ages. This knowledge, this new wisdom of who we are, will also be embraced and lived and passed to our children. So that then our children are not only born into a more beautiful, loving world, but that same entitled empowerment of adamant protection against the evils that would dare us. Because if we all really knew really what we can do, we've immediately eliminated the pedos, the sick people. We've eliminated them. Because they wouldn't dare cross us. Even a child. If we were truly teaching and learning and living who God made us to be. Jesus said, you can do the same great works as I, and even greater. And I don't think a person that ever read that really felt the full scope of what even greater really means. Because we are wonderfully powerful, amazing, loving creators, just like our Creator. So, yes, I have learned many painful lessons in this journey. Many horrendous lessons. Many lessons on a whole host of the gamut. Because I've had some really great lessons too. Really fun lessons. Really enjoyable lessons. I'm grateful for all of them. Because I'm so much more aware now than I once was. And I've healed myself from all of those lessons. And I assure you, I still have scars to prove it. On the back of this ear, there's a very deep ridge where this ear was almost taken off of my head from an abusive event. I have a 2-inch scar across my back where keys were cut into my rib cage. The only thing that remains from these events are the physical scars. Physical scars are a visual for the memory. Necessary. Can't get rid of it. Can't make it go away. Because it's there to teach you something. I've learned to turn my pain into my pleasure to better serve you. Memories used to be my nemesis. And now they're my bitch. I have suffered from love in extreme ways in order to teach you how to honestly survive and how to honestly heal from literally anything. I've always been known as the fixer. But in the past, I would really overtask my own energy in order to help others. I've learned in new ways how to not do that and not go against my nature of being a fixer. You see, now I know how to work smarter, not harder. And I'm still able to honor who I truly am and help people to fix their issues, which are mostly emotional issues, relationships, or their own personal stuff. But also with, what kind of proper herbs, vitamins, minerals, or energy healing is necessary to help them to correct something. But now I can truly, honestly teach people how to remove the pain and embrace the memories. Be able to truly shift past it in a healthy way that actually sticks. And I can help you too. I can. With literally any issue that directly involves you. So please, reach out to me for help if you need it. And please, if you have a story from your journey that you've learned from, that you would like to share with the world, email me. And be sure to put in the email whether you want to keep it confidential between you and I and just get some guidance, or if you would give me permission to tell your story on my channel, or even if you would like an opportunity to come on the channel and tell your story yourself, with or without the video on you. We can do it in just audio, if that's the way you prefer. But I want to encourage everyone. You have a platform you can use to tell your stories, to help empower people and empower yourself. Because saying it out loud, that empowers you. Just to be able to say it out loud to someone and own it as truth is empowering. And I want you to have that. I want you to feel that. So yeah, I think I've covered all of my highlights here, my notes. Let me just say one more thing. You know what a martyr is? Well, what I'm about to say to you could loosely be attributed to a martyr, but not. Because I feel like a martyr is someone who is giving up their life force, maybe. And that's not what this is about. But I am giving up something that's very near and dear to me. Something that has kept me from being able to move forward on my path for my true mission, which is to have that happy home scenario that has a husband present, a dad figure really truly present in a good way, in that harmonious, loving energy, everybody's on the same page kind of way. I've given up on that. Because being in that energy keeps me from pursuing my mission, which I've already been told it's time for me to, light a fire under my own butt. Basically, poop or get off the pot kind of a thing. Except I don't really have that option. But I'm fully ready to walk away from that type of worry. For me, there's no interest in collecting more resumes for the position. It's not about that at all anymore. It's simply about my home needs to be harmonious and peaceful and loving on an even keel at a constant in order for me to be able to pursue my mission without that worry, that extra focus. But again, I'm not telling you this so that you feel sorry for me at all. There's a reason for me sharing this with you. There's a lesson in it for you to learn. Because you see, I'm walking away from that, from any of that worry and that taxing energy in that direction. I'm learning how to be smarter instead of work harder in all ways in my life. And I know that by walking away from that and living in a more even-keeled, harmonious life, and teaching you how to do the same, that in turn, I too will also get that. Because we put out we get back more of what we put out. And if my energy is too busy focused on silly stuff, nonsense, immature stuff, low vibrational stuff, then I'm not keeping myself in that higher vibration all the time, you see. And so I became fully aware of that a couple years ago, but it's taken me this long to just totally resolve to do that. And I know I walk in faith, and I believe in what I teach. I'm walking the walk as I'm talking the talk, is what I'm getting to. And it's going to come full circle for me. I know that will. I have complete faith in that. And I don't care what that looks like exactly. As long as it's harmonious and on an even keel, on a constant, where there's joy and happiness and security and safety and love and all those wonderfully yummy words that us Cancerians love so much. That's all I worry about. I mean, I'm not even worried, right? But that's all I'm focused on, is that will happen eventually, whenever the time is right, because everything happens for a reason. Everything can be a lesson if you allow it. And everything can have a reward if you learn the lesson and you allow it to happen on God's timing, not yours. We don't control those things. That's part of our destiny. Our fate, now that's ours to play with. But our destiny, that stuff God wrote down. That's going to work out somewhere, some way, somehow. And I practice what I preach. And we don't worry about the dumb shit. Keep your eye on the prize. All the time. Keep your heart glowing with light. Keep your harmony flowing. Go with things when you get deterred or derailed or denied. Because rejection is God's protection. And there's something better for you. Trust that. Until we meet again. Be well and be blessed in love and light.